Hello friends, welcome to Technique. This is Nurmal here, and in this video we're going to do a detailed review of the newly launched smartphone from Poco under the budget series, the Poco C3. So Poco C3 is the latest entrant into the Poco series after the successful launch of Poco X2, Poco M2 Pro, Poco M2 and recently launched Poco M3 this year for the Poco devices. Now the fifth device this year is the Poco C3, which is again pretty decent in terms of specifications, and this device pricing starts at 7499 in India. That's 7500 rupees, which is a pretty good offering, and the base variant comes with 3GB RAM and 32GB internal storage. So how good is the device and is it really a good entry-level budget smartphone in India? So that's what we're going to do in this video. So if this is your first time on this channel, do hit that red subscribe button and also hit the bell icon to get notified of all the videos we publish. So let's get started with the detailed review. First up, let's have a look at the design and build quality. Now if you look at the design, the front panel design looks fairly good enough. You have the water drop notch, which is kind of more common at this price segment. The bezels aren't bad though, even though it's slightly thicker. Even the bottom bezels are slightly thicker, but then again at 7500 rupees, it's kind of decent design overall. And if you look at the back panel here, you can see that it is quite good. We have a matte finish on the back panel with two textures. The top panel has a pretty good looking matte finish, and the bottom section has some pattern which again feels quite good. The Poco logo is below the camera unit. We have a triple camera setup and LED flash is included, which is quite good. So overall the good in hand feel contributes to the good design and build quality. It's almost like 194 grams. It's slightly on the heavier side, but still we feel with the 5000 mAh capacity battery, and the overall design form factor looks quite good. So design and build quality is definitely good, and this is a polycarbonate material, but it feels really sturdy. You can see that it's a really sturdy material, and the finishing also looks pretty good for the price segment. Now next let's move on to the display. So this phone comes with a 6.53 inches HD plus resolution display with water drop notch. Now the display is an HD plus resolution display, and you can see that it's an IPS LCD panel with pretty good viewing angles. Even if you tilt the display, the viewing angles are quite acceptable for a budget or entry level smartphone, and the touch response also feels quite smooth. So overall we feel display quality is definitely good. There has been no major compromises in terms of display, even though it's a budget segment. You can see that the display quality definitely feels quite good. The touch response also feels very smooth, unlike a few budget smartphones where the display quality might be good but the touch response may not be that great. So here you can see that Poco has managed to make it pretty good here overall in terms of display quality. Now next let's move on to the software. So this device has the MIUI 12. So if you go to the about phone, so here we can see that it runs on MIUI 12 out of the box. We have 64GB storage as well as 32GB storage. We have also 4GB RAM and 3GB RAM. Ours is the top end variant, and we have Android 10 out of the box with the MIUI 12.0.1 global. Now if you look at the MIUI, so this is the same MIUI we have been seeing on almost all of the Xiaomi's and Redmi smartphone. You get all the features. If you go to the additional settings, you can see the Quick Ball, then enterprise features are there, a full screen display gestures, and support for themes. A whole lot of things are included. There are few missing features considering that this is more of a budget smartphone, but overall MIUI definitely looks good. And good thing about the Poco C3 is that there are no ads in the UI. Again, Poco devices does not feature any ads. That's something which company has been saying for quite some time. So here also you don't get any ads in the UI. So overall the UI performance feels quite smooth, and you can see that it does a pretty good job overall. We haven't seen any sort of lags or issues, and it feels quite smooth even at the 7500 price segment. It does pretty well. Now there are few apps pre-installed, few apps and games pre-installed which could have been avoided because these are unnecessary apps. We have been saying this for quite some time. So a bit of junk apps are included pre-installed, but you can probably uninstall them. Now next let's move on to the performance side. So we have the Helio G35 octa-core processor with either 3GB RAM or 4GB RAM. So we have tested the 4GB RAM, and we can say that the performance is quite smooth. We did not see any sort of lag or issues, and even if you look at the experience, you can see that it's pretty good. It's pretty smooth. overall, and it gives a good feel altogether, especially for the budget segment or entry level segment, where many users might be already using a feature phone and they want to upgrade to a smartphone. So that category, the experience is definitely good. We do not see any major issues and no lags whatsoever, and Helio G35 does a pretty good job. Now Helio G35 G series are known for gaming series, and G35 is an entry level gaming chipset, but here I could see that it can play games like Asphalt 9. We could try Asphalt 9, but it's slow to respond. It takes a lot of time to load, and overall experience is kind of average, but then again, at least it is able to run. That's pretty good, I would say, because at 7,500 price segment you can still play games like Asphalt 9, and even COD mobile is possible. Even though the graphic quality might not be that high, it is still possible to play these games. So that's the Helio G35. Now this device has triple slot, so you can see that there is two dedicated SIM card slots and a SD card slot. So that's the SIM card slot. So overall we feel that performance of the Poco C3 definitely looks good for the budget segment or the entry level segment, and there is no major compromise here. Now next, let's talk about the call quality. We have VoLTE support and voice or Wi-Fi support. Dual VoLTE is there. Then there is also splash proof nano coating, which prevents entry of water in say light rain, in splashes. It will protect the device, so that's also included here. Now next, let's talk about the fingerprint scanner and security aspect. So this device does not come with a fingerprint scanner. You can see that there is no fingerprint scanner included, which is quite acceptable, at least since it is a budget smartphone. You can see that face unlock is included, which is quite good, which is quite acceptable speed, but it does not come with a fingerprint scanner, so you can use face unlock or password is there. So that's the only option for protection included. Now speaker performance is quite decent. They are bottom spiring speakers, so they are quite okay. Now here you can also see that the charging port is micro USB, although we would have loved USB type C port. Again, not a major complaint though. At the 7,500 price segment, again kind of acceptable things. Now next, let's move on to the camera. So this is one of the few smartphones featuring triple rear cameras at this price segment. We have a primary 13 megapixel camera, then we have a 2 megapixel macro sensor and a 2 megapixel depth sensor, and we also get a water drop notch for the selfie camera. So that's the camera features. Now it can record videos in 1080p at 30 fps, and you get the decent features, including pro mode is included, and other options like portrait, slow motion. Slow motion is something which is missing here. You can see that there is no slow motion option. Portraits are there, and the basic AI modes are included. Now next, let's move on to the camera samples. So here are some samples we are taken with the Poco C3. Overall they look decent. Again, nothing much to write about them because they are kind of average experience, although at 7,500 price segment these are kind of acceptable ones. The colors are quite okay. The detailing is kind of average. Again, on zooming you could see that a bit of blurry photos, but again 13 megapixel camera does a decent job altogether. And if you look at the close-up shots, they come quite good, and macros also came out quite decent for the budget segment. And if you look at the low light experience, this is not a strength of the device for obvious reasons, but still with indoor lighting conditions or artificial lights, you could still take some decent pictures using the 13 megapixel shooter from the Poco C3. So that's the camera aspect, and video recording is maxed out at 1080p resolution at 30 fps, which is again without any stabilization, so it's again pretty average in quality. Now the selfie camera was quite okay. We could see some good details, and even portraits are also supported here, so overall it's a kind of a decent one. So if you look at the cameras as a whole, we feel they're not really great, but again if you look at the price segment, you may not get better ones out there in this price segment, so they are kind of acceptable for the 7,500 price segment. Now next and final aspect is the battery. So this device comes with a 5000 mAh capacity battery and 10 watt charging. So charging will definitely take some time. With a 10 watt charger, it is definitely going to take like 3 hours plus. but the battery life as a whole looks really good. You can get like more than almost like 1.5 to 2 days of battery life easily on this device, because it's more of a budget device, and this is not suitable for heavy gaming and all. So with moderate usage, you can get like more than 1.5 days of battery life easily on the Poco C3. So that is a detailed review of the Poco C3. So how good is the Poco C3 at 7,500 price segment? So we feel if a person is looking to upgrade from a feature phone, say around a 3 to 4K feature phone, to a smartphone, then the Poco C3 is definitely a good device, and ticks almost all the aspects, including good design and build quality, good HD plus resolution display, the latest MIUI 12, decent performance again. Cameras are kind of average, but again decent performance we would say, and good battery life. So you also get a triple slot included, and overall if you look at the 7,500 price segment, we feel this is definitely a good device to buy. If you are in a tight budget and you want to invest on an entry level or budget smartphone, then Poco C3 ticks all the right boxes and is a good offering in this price segment. So if you're also looking for a secondary smartphone, again here also we feel the Poco C3 suits well. If you want to use a secondary SIM card, again in that criteria also Poco C3 is a good device to buy. So that was a detailed review of the Poco C3. So at 7,500 it's definitely a good deal, and there are no major compromises for this price segment on the Poco C3. So hope you enjoyed watching this video. This device will go on sale on Flipkart on 16th of October during the big billion days. You can pick the base variant for 7,499. That's a 3GB RAM and 32GB internal storage. So thanks for watching. Hope to see you in our next video. Have a great day.